Good afternoon. Welcome to Take Stock Live. I hope you're doing well and happy. This is Sam Evans with you, and Take Stock Live is brought to you by StockAbility.com. Today's date is June 16th, and yes, it is a Wednesday, guys. It is a Wednesday. Last week we had a little bit of a break because I was actually taking a vacation with the family and spending time with the little boy on the beach. But normally we're here on a Thursday, but again have to go away tomorrow. But we don't want to miss out on another week. So here we are with Take Stock Live today on this Wednesday, June 16th as well, for the next 35 minutes to 40 minutes or so, brought to you live here on Facebook Live. And the time has just gone 12 here Eastern. And also we are simultaneously broadcasting on our YouTube channel as well. StockAbility channel is the place you can find us. I hope you've all been having a great week. Many of you are going to be looking at the show live, and if you are looking at the show live, awesome. Please feel free to type in your questions. I'm going to be keeping a check on the mic on here as well, as I see all the questions coming in while I'm monitoring on here, and also I'm going to be looking at the questions coming in via YouTube as well as we do this too. Feel free to look at these recordings of these shows as well. Our whole catalog of our previous shows is going to be on there as well. If you're a regular viewer of Take Stock Live, you know that usually I'm joined by guests. Today I'm going to be on my own, slightly shorter show as well, and looking at some format changes of the show coming up as well, as we talk about everything trading related as well, trading and investing. The purpose of the show is to start to educate and entertain, show you different pathways as well. All of the guests we have on here, most of the guests we have on here are all full-time traders as well, as myself, trading actively, pretty much looking at the markets every day, well, nearly every day, because sometimes we like to take a break from this. We don't want it to rule us. We don't want to just be the only ones doing this as well. But today's show, we are going to be focusing a little bit on crypto. I'm actually, the title of today's show, if we just go over to it right now, is this: trading cryptocurrencies. And the reason why we've picked this, trading cryptocurrencies, as our topic today is because I've been getting a lot of questions coming in on the show. And I thought, hey, you know what? I've been getting more and more questions coming in, people emailing and talking about this. So I thought, hey, you know, we're going to make the main focus on crypto. And I've got time, I think, to squeeze in a couple of other questions as well. Anytime that you want to reach out and you have questions for us, feel free to just get in touch with us. We are here. You can go and paste your comments directly here on the Take Stock Live page, on the Facebook page, or on the YouTube channel for StockAbility.com as well. Don't forget to like the show. Click on that like button. Click on the subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or any of that good stuff. And guess what? We're here. Dana Joyce, good to see you in the house as well, talking a little bit about crypto. Before we get into that, let's talk about the news. Let's go take a look at the markets. You know I love to go looking at the markets before we do anything else. Let's go on over to the charts right now and see. Here's our chart, daily chart of the S&P. Again, I feel like every single week lately, I'm looking at these charts and I'm kind of going to myself, meh. Remember that high of just shy of 42.49 was put in earlier on a couple of days ago, right there, 42.49, but nothing really happening ever since there as well. And it has just been sideways on this market, especially coming towards the end of this week. Is it the selling may and go away? Did these guys go away? Is that what happened? I don't know. I have been trading this week. I've traded a couple of days this week. Today, I've took the day off, doing some other things, heading for a trip tomorrow, but I don't really feel like I'm missing out. Right now, I don't know. I look at this like a trader's paradise, this sideways market. Remember, we've had an incredibly dominant uptrend in the markets recently. But again, what we're starting to see is a pull. And what we're trying to see here is that there is just certainly a different direction going on in the market. So your big boy, your S&P, is kind of lackluster at the moment. You know, not really doing very much. If we slide on over to look at the Dow Jones, the popular Dow 30, the oldest index of all, we can see a very different picture. Massive resistance zone that on the show we've had our eye on. And again, you see this different pulling right now. We've had, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is potentially 8 days. There you go. There's 8. 8 days in a row of downward pressure on this particular market. 8 days in a row of downward pressure on the market right now as well on that Dow. And I would say right now, if you're looking at this wondering what to do, you know, if this market doesn't hold this area, guys, I see more downside, and I'm not going to be really a winning buyer until we get to this lower area where I'm going to just mark this line across here as well. So let's just mark this off here. We've got a major support zone coming up. We're in a key equilibrium point, trapped between resistance and the support area right now. This is a big number. Let's take a look. 34,100. All eyes have got to be be on 34,000 points. That's the big number. If that area doesn't hold, guys, I do expect to see a downward drifter around for about another 600 points, where I'll be looking around this 33,400, 33,200 on the Dow. Not ready to be a seller as it stands in where we are, but I have been aggressively short selling as it stands over these last couple of days as well, and into last week. Again, I'm mixed right now, taking the rest of the day off as it stands on here. Been and done out of this. Not really any great action. Again, we are drifting. There is a weakness there. That should be noted. A little one to compare this to is, let's go and look at the NASDAQ and see. And you see the NASDAQ had what a recovery from those previous areas. Beautiful pullback that we had after this lovely pushback. Nice little retracement. And here we are again. This is, again, a key area, because if you look across this whole area, we like to look at what we call these transition areas, and this whole previous resistance area could offer some major support to the tech sector. And I'm not ready to write this thing off. This 14,000 points that you can see here is a big, big number, ladies and gents, something we should look at. And we are in a nice, very clean little support area, support zone, as you would probably want to call it right now at the moment. If that holds, much like the thing, we've got this key point where we are on the Dow, key point where we are on the NASDAQ. If these current levels hold where we are at the moment, I would be shocked if we don't have another little retest of the highs next week. If this current area doesn't, we're just going to drift a little bit lower on the tech sector, breaking probably comfortably 14,000, taking it down to about 13,800 as it stands right now. That's our NQ. And then obviously we've got the final. Let's not forget about the little brother of the gang, the Russell RTY. And again, look, RTY broke back on the highs. Let's remember that the Russell is in a ranging formation here. This is a ranging market. Let's just zoom out a little bit so you can see a bit more of this, guys. And you can see very clearly that after the massive upward momentum that we have just been in a sideways channel right now. Equilibrium still around the 2,200 point. Guys, I got to play this range now a little bit and accept that this is not the kind of market, unless we have, and let's zoom in on here, unless we see a very clean break, through these current highs. I can't really get bullish on this. I'd rather be buying other markets. I can get bullish down here, for sure, but I'm not going any further than that. Okay, right now at the moment, this one to me is done. This is always the laggard. We're getting a lot of conflicting interest in these broad markets. Interesting to see that Dow weakness is there. But again, what is the news going on to support this as well? If we take a look at today's news as well, there's really not a whole lot out there to really. I think all eyes have been on the G7 lately. The G7 has been going on over the last couple of days as well, as you know. Right now, the big spotlight is on Putin versus Biden. How's that going to go? I don't know, but I can tell you this right now. I'm not one to speculate, but I can see a lot of data coming out right now as well that has obviously got the longer term markets and investors kind of thinking, you know, that's what I'm really saying. I'm seeing a lot of at the moment. Let's go through the top headlines that we're seeing right now. Obviously, we've got the post-Fed meeting updates as well. So US stock futures pretty much, and the broad equity market's not doing a whole lot on here. We've got the Federal Reserve's two-day meeting concluding this Wednesday afternoon Eastern time as well. No policy changes are expected, but there is a lot of different things, you know, coming out of that. Firstly, bond yields are in a holding pattern right now because we're getting that inflation data that's obviously just kind of like been putting a lot of pressure on the market as well. So rates at 1.5%, a little change on Tuesday after the government's May producer price index showed a 6.6% gain on an annual basis as well. So again, cost is going up. We can't hide from that. That is probably putting a lot of the brakes on the market right now. I've been saying this, if anything's really going to catch up with the market in the long term, it's going to be inflation. That's the one, and we have to understand it. And all I hear from the data and the Fed and all of the statistics is, inflation's not a problem. I don't know. I look at my change, I look at my pocket, things keep going up, guys. I know, just living here in the last 5.5 years, the cost of living is going up all around the world as well. Don't tell me inflation's not a problem, Fed. We know it is. And I think that the market is beginning to respect that and kind of, I would say, build it into the current market prices as well. We're starting to see some of that as well. We're starting to see it, and it may be that things are cooling off. I don't know. I have a feel that things are cooling off a little bit again. Final major piece of economic data for the Fed gathering to consider was housing starts and building permits for May. Okay. Stats released this morning. New construction rose by 3.6%. Seasonally adjusted to an annual rate of 1.57 million units. So again, it is up there. The building permits are coming. We are seeing that on here as well. So again, you know, last week we had a slowdown in housing sales, but obviously the building permits are rising. Even though we're getting the permits, though, does that actually mean the buildings are going to be built? Okay, and now we're seeing lumber prices coming back down again. I don't know. I feel like things are just cooling off a little bit. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. Yeah, today, Joe's on us new time. Joe, you're always here, man. I love it. Thank you for being such a loyal follower. I didn't do it last week because I was on vacation. As I was saying at the start of the show, we are going to be sticking with Thursdays at noon as regular, but I have to go away, have a business trip I have to go to tomorrow. So I didn't want to shortchange anybody. TakeStock Live had to come out on the Wednesday. So thanks for bearing with us as well. That's the beauty of having these things recorded as well. So all good. Breaking news, by the way, Putin says US and Russia have agreed to return ambassadors and restart diplomatic operations. All right, it's all going on in Geneva. We will see if that factors in. So market's really holding right now, saying, what's going to happen? What's happening out in Russia? What's happening between Russia and the US, Putin, Biden, all eyes on the G7, everything going on out of there. Fed's kind of in a bit of a, where are we at? Inflation, who cares? This is the great thing about it. This is why I love being a trader, because I'll just buy it low, sell it high, determine direction. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I get out for a small loss and move the heck on. You know, I sometimes find it a little bit easier to do that fundamental analysis and a deep dive into the companies themselves. But when you're looking at the broad markets, it can be challenging. This is where too many people go wrong. You know, and reading between the lines. And I think, guys, that this is something that really, for me, puts it all into perspective as well when we talk about, you know, today, cryptos, which are some of the questions we had coming in, because we can't ignore the fact that crypto is the word on everybody's tongue, coming out of everybody's mouth. Heck, my wife even bought some crypto. She's got into it. I have some investment in it too. But is it the future? And yeah, listen, by the way, inflation, I think the concerns, Joseph, I think the concerns that are out there are one of the things that are factored into people going to crypto. All right, let's talk about this for a second. Everything's inflated, okay? And with everything being inflated, cost of living is going up, okay? Yeah, interest rates are so low. And the reason why inflation is so high is because interest rates are so low. It's a vicious circle. So you can't get money putting your money in the bank. I don't care where you live in the world. There's no money by having, you know, interest or yield in the bank. So people are going to stocks, but stocks are going so pricey. People also want other investments, okay? Housing, we know what's going on there, but it's not liquid for most. A lot of people with spare money are putting it in the market, or they're buying little bits of Bitcoin and crypto because they're trying to find a return. And a lot of it comes from inflation. These are times of uncertainty. And again, I'll say it, I don't mind putting it on the line, but if there's anything that's really not spoken enough about, it is inflation. It is a big problem, I feel. But again, we don't have to worry about it. That's why I want to empower ourselves with the ability to trade and invest for ourselves and be able to ride these storms to the up or the downside. So again, I think that inflation problem has obviously sparked a lot of extra interest, a whole lot of extra interest in the crypto market. And let's talk about the crypto market, because I had questions come in today. And I thought, hey, my regular co-host, Brian Dumaresque, is doing other things right now out in North Carolina. And I was like, I got the show, man. I'm always here. I got great questions coming in. So let's answer some of those questions today. Let's go take a look at these. First question that came up today was from Steve M. London. Hey, Steve, shout out to you. Thank you for watching the show and so on. Steve sent this email, this questioning to me. Londoner, like myself, not sure what part of London, East London, hopefully East London, whatever. We're all London. It's all good. What is your take on crypto for a newbie, as you tend to focus on stocks? And I was talking about this show, me tending to focus on the stocks. And again, I think this is a great thing, because there's a lot of crypto experts out there, and I think that this can be incredibly overwhelming. And this is why I started to talk about this on the show today. So Steve, thank you for your question, because it really leads to us talking about crypto on the show. This show, yes, we do talk a lot about stocks, because it's what we know. You know, there's a ton of liquidity in there. It's a known market. It's a known medium. It's a known vehicle. And there is so much unknown about the world of crypto. Now, I'm going to put my hands up high, okay? And I'm going to say, listen, was not an early adopter of crypto. I've spent many years of my life kind of honing and shaping my craft as a short-term trader, okay, and investor. Been doing this for a long time now. Crypto maybe passed me by, but you've got to be living under a rock if you haven't started to actually see that it is gaining traction. Now, there's a lot of speculation out there. A lot of things going on in the world, especially now. We saw a lot of South American countries all saying that they're going to be moving over and considering crypto, you know, as one of their primary denominations. People going, oh, well, that's it. You know, Elon Musk tweeting here, tweeting there, using it. Look, I'm going to break it all down right now. I'm a man of and Steve, this is to answer your question. I'm a man of logic. And for a brand new crypto investor or trader, or if you're not involved in it, you can look and say, well, have I missed the boat? You know, how do I go about doing it? What news do I focus on? Let's go into reality right now. I don't care what countries are moving over. I'll believe it when it happens. When it starts to happen and people are moving over, we've been talking about new currencies forever, okay? It ain't happened yet. Is it going to happen? It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. Everything in crypto is a world of speculation. Let's face it, people buying it has actually put the value on it. And there's a scarcity with the blockchain and the mining and the system behind it. I get that. But to me, it is a little bit of potentially a false scarcity that's just been created by algorithms. Again, and you can call me out on the show right now and go, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't claim to know what I'm talking about. So you can rip me apart and go, you're an idiot. I don't know what you're talking about. But to me, living in a very black and white, simple, logical world, okay, I don't know enough about it. Okay, who knows what's going to happen? Do you know what it's going to take to move the world fully over to crypto? There's a lot. Now, there's other people who are putting everything into it, and that's fine. You know, you've got to go with what your heart is. But the point is this, there's many unknown factors, okay? And when I start to see nations of the world really heavily investing in this with the most solid economies in the world, that's going to make me sit up and take interest and go, there's some serious major implications to this. Whatever nations are now doing this, if they haven't got the strongest economies in the world, then I'm not going to back them, okay? I'm going to look at it and go, hey, your current currency versus moving over to Bitcoin, what would I rather have? And right now, I'd rather have pounds. I'd rather have dollars. They're established. But that doesn't mean, and I want to go on record as saying this, that does not mean, let's get this microphone up here. That does not mean, guys, I'm not interested in it. I'm a speculator by nature, and I encourage everybody to be speculatory in what they do. So, Steve, as a newbie, I think there are some fantastic ways for you to explore. My official line on crypto is this. Yeah, guys, here's the thing. It's a great thing to explore. We don't know what's around the corner with it. And what's happening is, and here's the great thing, as the interest is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, there are more and more ways to explore cryptocurrency. And not just Bitcoin. It could be Ethereum. It could be anything else. Dogecoin, whatever you want to do. But there are more and more safe ways to explore the world of cryptocurrency now. And that to me is a good thing. Listen, it's no different to buying a futures contract. I might be right, I might be wrong. I don't look at it like that. I'm just saying right now, I'm not willing to go and put my entire, I don't want to go and put my entire money, my entire life, my entire assets, everything I've got into crypto. Why would I want to do that? That doesn't make any real logical sense to me, okay? But I will speculate. And that's my advice on this as well. You know, listen, I am Joe. I'm a complete man of logic. Shout out to you, Phil Jackson, my boy on there out in Southern California. Good to have you on the show. Listen, the point is this, is I say go for it and speculate, but speculate with what you can afford to speculate. And I'm going to talk about micro Bitcoin in just a second. I'm not one of the people who's going to start trading, opening up an account with Coinbase and doing it through PayPal or anything like that. Any of you guys who are seriously interested in speculating, listen, you can do it on Robinhood. You can do it on Coinbase. Go small, try it out and see. But what I'm going to say is if you're going to take this really seriously, number one, putting your life savings into it to me is not a good thing. There's a lot of diversification out there. There's real estate, there's precious metals, there's currency, there's wine, there's art, there's the stock market. There's many different things we can invest in. Okay. So again, my first thing is I'm going to put everything into it, but I will speculate. So there's a couple of ways you can speculate, guys. And I would say to you guys right now, a couple of the cool ways of doing it. Let's go over to the charts and take a look at how we can speculate. So let's go on over to the charts. One of the ones I've been talking about on the show, let's just say I'm really, I'm new to this and I want to start doing, you've got to start charting this. Okay. You've got to start charting this. So for anyone new on crypto right now, one of the things I've definitely found is the prices and the levels, they matter. So if I go over to the Market Watch right now, I've been a looker at this. And again, depending on your trading platform, whatever you may use, guys, this is what I've been searching on here. There's the BLX, the Bitcoin Liquid Index. Okay, let's go take a look at the BLX. And this is the chart that I use to track Bitcoin as a whole. Let's just focus on Bitcoin for a second right now. This of me, and what I love so much, I've always said this, guys, price is price. That's the great thing about this. Price is price. So no matter what you can say, whether you're looking at corn, grains, oil, Microsoft, whatever you be, Facebook, price is price. And I found that. And one of the things I started to do is as, we started to get real-time data feeds coming in, actual indexes, liquid indexes, and all this kind of good stuff coming in. I was like, now I can start charting this. So rule number one for anybody looking at getting into a world of cryptocurrency is this. You got to learn to chart it. It's just no different to stocks or anything. You've got to start understanding price, guys. There's no difference in this and there is anything else. There's support levels, there's resistance levels, there's trend, there's all of that kind of good stuff as well. So first things first, guys, you got to start learning to chart and to see buy low, sell high. And I think these charts here tell a great story. I want to look at this chart at the top right here. And I got to say right now is this. I am not going to blindly buy Bitcoin. I don't care what anyone says. Like, now, what was our high on Bitcoin? So we actually had, based on here, on the highs right now, $64,655 per Bitcoin. Great. We have seen nothing but a sell-off in this market. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and expand this chart here for everybody on the show to see it. We have had a sharp sell-off on this market. Currently trading right now here, I'll zoom it in for you, at 39,222. Now, I will say this. You've got to have an idea of what's high and what is low. And I look at this chart right now and I see this. And again, I can use my own analysis, you know, of all of this. And that's a great way. And I want to talk exactly about that, Phil Jackson, okay? Phil, I can see you're in BLX. You've got to have a little bit in there if you want to have a bit of exposure. Look, you've got to look at it like this. Can I afford to lose that money? So again, this is why I'm going to talk about it from an investing and a trading point of view. And I'm only going to touch the surface of this, guys, because before the end of today's session, we are going to do, and I'm doing next month, a actual webinar on this, on Bitcoin in more detail with you. So I'm just going to touch the surface of this. But the first thing I'm going to say is get out there and start analyzing the charts before you rush in. You've got all the time in the world. Let's be honest with ourselves. Okay, you can look at this and feel like I missed the boat. I missed the boat. I missed the boat. I missed the boat. Guys, don't think like that. Think about being patient, because here's the problem. The higher and higher and higher this market goes, when it does correct, it's more damaging to your portfolio. See, if you'd invested at 10,000 and it went down to, and it lost half of its value to 5,000, that's not so bad. But you invest at 50,000 and lose half of your value, that's $25,000 worth of loss. The higher it goes, the greater the risk. Did you understand that, guys? So with any kind of asset, anything that I'm going to look at, for any one new thing, think about, am I getting it cheap? Because I tell you, those words that I just hear everywhere, F, O, or letters, M, O, it affects everybody. And if you'd have been jumping that boat, chasing the price up here at 65,000 a couple of weeks ago, you just lost half your money. Wait for it to come down. Patience. To me, there is not a clear trend in this. I have not seen any recent higher highs and higher lows. So again, from a pure trading perspective, I like it where it is right now. This 35,000 area is good. But I tell you right now, if that doesn't hold, we're definitely going to fill up the gap here. And I would not be surprised to see us going to about 20,000 on this. At 20,000, that then makes sense for me to be a buyer at a better price. Don't have that fear of losing out, okay? I'm a price guy. This is the way I go, and I look at it. And I'm telling you this right now. Guys, this is so new. Crypto is so new. I mean, look, let's just think about that for a second, about how new crypto is. And I'm just going to plead with everybody here right now. If this thing's got serious legs, one or two things is going to happen, right? It's just going to keep rocketing up, rocketing up, rocketing up. It's going to keep going higher and higher and higher, right? If there's a long term, I mean, this is going to be with us. If this is the future, it's going to be around for the next 100, 200, 300 years, right? And the point I'm trying to say is this, is we've got time. We've got time to invest in it. So we can wait for it to pull back if you're not in it. Now, if you're already in it, who cares, man? If you're in it down at 5,000, no worries, all good. But I'm saying for new people, remember the initial question from Steve was, what about if I'm a new trader, if I've never been in it before? Then you've got time in the world. If this thing is going to be the future, and I tell you what, I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying it can't be. I just want more evidence. We're going to have a very, very long ride on this to the upside, giving you time to be patient and dip your toes in the water. You understand, guys? That's what I mean. What's up, Merlin Rothfeld, Trader Merlin, my man on there as well. Love to see you on the show. I'm a regular. I go on his show regularly. Love to see you viewing on the show. Thank you for your support, my friend. I really love it. So, you know, I know you've been a big fan of crypto, and I understand it too as well. And it's a good thing. And I'm just saying to you guys, if this has got a future, you aren't going to miss out. Yeah, there's always early adopters, but there's also late adopters who still do well. It's all about timing. Wait for a good pullback, okay? I've got to say, if this thing comes back down to 5,000, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to just buy a bit, but I'm going to speculate with what I can afford to lose. Now, that said, looking at these charts, let's go back over to the charts. We have to be careful. This is not a world I want to trade in. I want to do longer term positions in this. Why? Volatility is high on this thing. Okay, volatility is high on here. Let's go and add a study on here. And let's just go see if we can find, let's go put ATR, average true range, on this thing. And you're going to see, look at the volatility on this. So what you're seeing here along the bottom, where I'm going to just kind of do my arrow here, is the average volatility. Now look at the volatility from December of 2020 until now. That has just risen. The volatility just keeps going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, you know. And the point that tells me that is not a smart market to trade. And when I say trade, I'm talking about getting in, getting out, like as I day trade. No way. That's too much. You'll get chopped to pieces. You'll get hurt. This is something to go smaller and give it time and let it breathe and buy into over time as it develops. That's the way. That's just my advice. I personally don't give a crap what people do with their money. As long as you're not wasting my money, do what you want with your own. This is just opinion. I'm not a registered advisor. My advice, however, is trading it, day trading it. Good luck with that. You know, that's trying to kind of like, you know, tame a rabid dog. It's never going to happen. So what I would do is say anybody's is start look at longer charts. Look at weekly charts. Look at monthly charts. I can tell you this right, guys. I'm never going to look at anything less than a daily chart. For now, my focus is going to be on weekly and monthly charts, waiting for great times. I think if you are bullish on this market, you've recently had a good buying opportunity around the 35,000 mark. I think if we can push ourselves above 40,000, no reason why we're not getting back to 50. No reason why we're not, but we have to hold this level across here. And if we hold that level, great. But again, there will be time. The great thing about this is you've got time. That's the key thing on here. Thank you, Merlin. Really appreciate that comment as well. I am a believer in it. I just want you to have the time. Look, here's the thing. To say I'm a believer in cryptocurrency is kind of an interesting one, because I don't feel like I can believe in it. As in, do I believe in it to put everything I've got in it? No. Do I believe that it makes sense to speculate in it with money I can afford to lose? Absolutely. If that makes sense to everybody, I believe it's something you should be speculating in if you've got money to lose. Let's face it. Would I rather have a few $1,000s of my money sat in a bank right now? Or would I rather have a few $1,000s of my money sat in Bitcoin right now? At the right price, Bitcoin all day long. Because you know what? My money's depreciating just sitting in the bank anyway. Right? Even if I lose the money. But remember, the lesson of today is you got to trade with money that you can afford to lose. I hope that's helpful to everybody. I really do as well. You know, it's just okay. And I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep bringing it up. Now, Phil Jackson mentioned on here, let me scroll down and says, you know, I'm BLX with a small percentage of my portfolio. If you want a little bit more diversity in your portfolio, another great opportunity you've got, and I'll talk about the futures in just a second, is you can go and invest in the Bitcoin itself through Coinbase or Robinhood or any of those things. But another way you can do it is you can go and actually buy an ETF in the CryptoWise, in BITW, which is the Bitwise Crypto Index. So BITW, let me go pull this one up on the charts and show you what this looks like. Here we are, guys. And I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. Now, I'm looking at this on a weekly chart. Now, to give you a better perspective of this, let's go look at it on a monthly. Let's go look at it on a... Here we go. This is the chart I want to see here. This is the daily chart. Now, I want to just zoom in. We've been in a... The Bitwise Crypto Index is as close to kind of a DAO version of cryptocurrency. And this is what I quite like about this, you know. The point is if you want that extra level of diversification, you could go and put all your eggs into Bitcoin. To me, it makes sense that if I'm looking real long term, I like to have some exposure in BITW. BITW is the Bitwise 10 crypto index. This has got a little bit of everything in it. You know, it's price weighted, so the big chunk of it's in Bitcoin, but the fund behind this has gone and diversified by getting invested in a number of different cryptos, you know, Ethereum, Bitcoin and the like, okay? And now going into this, and I like this. And I've got to say right now, if I was looking at a portfolio and I wanted exposure, but I didn't want volatility, I wanted exposure, but I wanted to diversify, guys, this is a great vehicle to look at. Here we go. BITW is your ticker. The ETF is there. I'm watching this to see if the options chain starts to come alive. But where we are right now at $45, I got to say to myself, it's worth a go. You know, it's worth a go, this particular index. I like this. This is the one I've been looking at. Again, I like the diversity. Go check out the Bitwise Crypto Index and I go to their page online, see a little bit more. But this to me is a great vehicle to have a go on it. And again, I want to kind of see how this pans out as well. So for me, that's giving it. Now, this thing has been as high as $200 shortly after its IPO, right? And then we had another push and then we've been drifting down. Again, when I look at these kind of lows, to me, that's a great opportunity. And that is a great opportunity for somebody, I feel, at this particular low price of around $44. That's a nice vehicle for me. So again, if you're sitting there going, I like what you're saying, but I'm a little bit more cautious, BITW, that's your one to start looking at for me. For somebody who wants that extra level of diversification, do yourself a favor. Don't look at anything less than the daily chart on that. I'm going to keep a watch on that. I like that. In fact, my thing would be this. Another way I'd look at this to say, hey, if I wanted to be a little bit more of an aggressive investor in this market, then let's go buy into Bitcoin. You can do that. And again, you can buy into BLX itself, as Phil Jackson did it on there as well. You can go buy directly into Bitcoin. There's a number of ways to do it, which is fine. You could go and put a chunk in that and say, hey, I'm also going to have half of my investment in BITW to get a little bit of exposure in all the other currencies as well, the other cryptos too. So 2 great opportunities there. If you want to be a little bit more active, then I guess the place for you to then go, if you want that extra level of safety, and us traders, well, some of us traders, we love safety. Bitcoin futures /BTC is where I'm at. Here's your Bitcoin futures on your CME. There it is on your daily chart. You know, the volume is there now. The market is there to trade it. If you're looking to be a little bit more specific on your timing, Bitcoin futures are the one that's been really sticking up. And what I love about Bitcoin futures is you can now take some short positions. So if you're feeling bearish on it, you can actually short these Bitcoin futures. So anyone on the short side of Bitcoin lately has been doing very well by the futures. So if you want that extra way to diversify, another thing we could consider is having long-term holdings in Bitcoin in our wealth portfolio and hedging through the futures. So during those dips, taking short positions on the futures contract, a great way for us to also hedge. And again, if that contract is a little bit large for you, because it is a larger contract on here, you also have the option of doing micro Bitcoin futures. Okay. And the MBT, micro Bitcoin futures, let's just pull it up on here. Typed it in wrong. I've already got it saved in my watch list. So let's do it. Micro Bitcoin futures. Here you are, MBT. Here's your one. Let's go to my charts. There it is. There's your micro Bitcoin futures, which are new on here. Trading at $1 a tick. Great little vehicle. Now, volume is one of the key things I want to start looking at on here and checking out the volume. Let's go put a study on here. Let's go actually check out volume on here and just check out volume. This might actually be easier if I just go to here and do it. So I'm just going to go click on my settings, go over to the future, show my volume subgraph and see. There's your volume, 10,000 contracts so far today. Average volume sitting right now about 12,000 contracts as well. You know, as you're saying on there, you know, Merlin, a $70,000 margin on a Bitcoin contract. If you're a whale, that's great. But when those things came out, I was like, great. But then thank God, as you say, for the micros, because we've got a fraction of the cost. Still high, but a fraction of the cost. Something that you could start dipping into. Again, go do your research, but I would highly recommend seeing the volumes on here around 10,000 contracts. You're more than fine on this. Now, just remember to understand this, guys. If you're going to get into the world of futures, it's a very different world. Contracts expire and there's rollover. It's not as simple as just buy or short sell and hold. There's expiry, there's gaps, there's premiums, there's discounts. There's a lot of these kind of things you have to factor in. So go and understand and get the knowledge. And if you don't know where to begin, you can always go to a place called StockAbility.com because we can help you out with all of that. But micro Bitcoin futures for me, I'm excited about that product. I've been talking a lot about it in my own guided trade sessions with the students, how much I like it, with my team at StockAbility as well. And I think they're offering a great low cost entry way for you to play both sides of it. And I like the regulation behind CME backed products as well. So again, for somebody looking to take that more active stance, I got to say micro Bitcoin futures, the volume's creeping up. I'd like to see it a little bit higher, but it's certainly not orange juice. So I think it's kind of safe to just get in, and I can only see this thing exploding. I think the thing is just a lot of people don't even know that you can do it. That's the problem. People don't realize you can. And if you can do it, that's the thing. And it's a wonderful thing. So the ETF, well, I've been actually looking at the Bitcoin futures as well. The one I suggested, Hollis, was BITW, if you're going to do the ETF. If you're going to do the ETF of it, I would say BITW is the one on here. that's the mean, because I like the added extra diversity on that as well. Okay, so that's the one for me. And then I think that, you know, for anybody else looking at this right now, I think the best bang for your buck you're going to get is those micro Bitcoin futures for now, because again, I want to start to see how these options start to roll out on these things and see how they pick up as well. So they're all the subjects that we've got. They're all the ones as well. Feel free to reach out if you've got any other questions on the show as well. But BITW is the ETF that I've been looking for. BITW is the one that I'm, like I say, my personal favorite right now. And it is price weighted heavily. And again, if you're looking for someone just to have that exposure, to me, that's the ETF to go with right now, because it's not just Bitcoin. It does cover the other 9 top actively most held price weighted cryptocurrencies in the world today. So that would be my recommendation to keep things nice and safe as well. Great comments on the show, guys. We've got time for a couple more questions. I really want to get through these 2 questions as well. You can use GBTC as well. Oh, thank you for sharing. Joe said GBT. Let's just go GBTC. Let's go and take a look at that. And here we go, the GBs. This is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. There you go. A little bit cheaper, about $10. Very similar chart. So yeah, let's add it on our watch list so we can watch it. I'm going to call that as Joe GBTC. There's your ETF on if you want just Bitcoin itself as an ETF. Let's go to the chart so you can see it. There it is, GBTC. Put it on there for you. Very similar looking chart. As you can see right now, if we go look at this on those weekly levels, let's go back to my weekly charts and zoom in. You can see again this same area on the Bitcoin futures holding. Right now it's going to cost you $32.08 a share. So again, you're not getting that level of volatility, but thank you for sharing. This would be a great way of doing just alone Bitcoin. Me personally, like I said, my personal favorite is BITW, which is like giving the index, and you're getting a similar thing on that market as well. You're just kind of seeing a little bit more expensive, but that does have the exposure in a whole host of other cryptocurrencies as well. So I hope that all helps, my friends. Thank you for sharing. Love that, guys. Love the sharing on there. Pretty cool. Let's get to our next question as well. I don't want to forget about the other questions that we've got here, guys. Second question we got in today was this. I've been told to use stop loss orders, but I keep getting taken out of trades, which then go my way. Should I not use them? Carol in Denver. Carol in Denver. What do you think I'm going to say to that? No, you shouldn't stop using them. I know, I can hear and feel your pain. I understand why you're saying that, and I understand why you feel that you need to do that, but let me explain as why we are not going to do that. I hear this all the time. If you just join us, this was the question. I've been told to use stop losses, but I keep getting taken out of trades, which then go my way. Should I not use it? Let's remember what a stop loss is. It's your worst case scenario protection. It's your risk in case things go horribly wrong. Let's go over to my banner here, and let's just assume that, hey, you know what? I get into a market, I buy when the market comes to here, and it starts to go in my favor, and it just keeps going down, going down, going down. My loss could just be huge. And the idea of the stop loss is that if it goes X amount of dollars or points down, I get out here and just take a small hit. Well, too many people find themselves in a situation like this. They have a buy area, price comes down, they buy at this point, starts moving in their favor, they have a stop loss here, the price hits their stop loss and then goes higher. And then they're like, oh, man, if I hadn't used that stop loss, I get taken out for a small loss here, and then the market moves in my favor, and it keeps happening and happening and happening. So they say, well, if I hadn't had this stop loss right here, I'd still be in this trade for a winning position. So they say, I'm not going to do that again. The problem is this. You get another opportunity like that. Market comes down. You buy right here. It does this, and then it does this, and this, and this, and this. And suddenly, you've lost half of your account, and you're wishing you did have a stop loss. Now, sometimes people want to wait for it to go all the way back up. But again, can you afford to do that? Can your account afford to do that? And how much time are you wasting in between? So my opinion is, do not be tempted to not use a stop loss. The issue I typically find, everybody, the major issue that I typically find is not the stop loss itself. It's not the stop loss. The issue is typically entry. People enter positions where their stops are too tight, and then the market clips them and goes in their favor, or they enter too aggressively at, an area where they're more likely to get whipped out. Me personally, in my own trading, can ask machines, I use more generous size stop losses because I like to be a little bit more aggressive on my entry. So I know I'm going to take a bit more heat on those trades. But as a result of that, I adjust my position size accordingly, and I keep my position size at an amount that I'm comfortable with, knowing that I can handle that risk if that actually happens. You understand? So the point I try to make on here, guys, is I know it's tempting, but don't be tempted. Stop losses are a godsend. Focus more on getting better at your entries and being more patient. That is my advice to you, to Carol in Denver. Carry on using them. All it takes is one bad trade for it will go horribly wrong. Okay? I would not feel responsible if that was... I would not want to feel responsible, for what could happen on the other side of that if you weren't to use a stop loss. I've always used them. I've always been an absolute, regimented sergeant major for stop losses. Let's just put it that way. One more question before we come to the top of the hour, before the end of the show. This is from Charles in Tampa. Is it better to focus on trend trading, as this seems to be higher probability? Well, what a great question. Is it better to focus on trend trading, as this seems to be higher probability? Now, well, it depends. It's always going to be higher probability if the market's trending, right? So if a market's trending up and you buy it and it keeps going up, of course, that's great. Is the market trending? The question is not, is it trending now? The question is it going to carry on trending later? You understand? That's the conundrum we have. A great example of this is looking at just today's markets, going over to the charts right now and taking a look at the markets back over here, is taking a look here at the S&P. Now, and I think that you can start to see this right now, and even if you look at it even better, I think an even clearer picture of this. Well, let's firstly stick on this daily chart here. So I'm going to just blow this chart up for you here, maximize this chart right now. And you can see on here our chart. This market, the S&P, has been trending beautifully for quite some time, but you'll notice over the last couple of days, we've stopped. If you've been an aggressive buyer of pullbacks in this region here, you've been getting crushed with very little follow through. There's been more of a case for range-bound trading, okay? And sometimes, it's not as simple. The market give you deeper pullbacks, then move higher. So it's great when the market is going one way, but in a situation like now, trend trading isn't really a viable option when you're looking at a market like this. You go and look at the same thing, how you would have got slapped senseless on this Dow. Because on this Dow Jones, we see a similar thing. We've seen this massive uptrend, and now we're seeing 8 days of weakness. So if you've been buying aggressively over this last few days here, you've just been trying to go with an upward trend, but you're getting crushed because currently the trend is down. We probably need a different pullback. The thing is this, guys, it's a deep question and a great question, and why I love it. When there is a trend, yes, you should attempt to go with it. But the biggest mistake I find most people making when it comes to their trading is they don't have a robust system of deciding when to go with a trend and when to not go with a trend. If you look historically at equity markets, they are some of the longest trending markets in the world, and trend trading strategies work good. But then you're also going to get markets that don't do that. So I don't have a fan. Is it fair to say that trend trading is a higher probability? It may seem to be a higher probability, Charles, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is. You have to base your trading on market conditions, and you can go through very, very long periods of ranging trades when nothing's going on. And actually just ranging and buying low, selling high is just as rewarding as trend trading as well. My own studies have found that I like to grab the low-hanging fruit in my trades, grab the high probability and go with that. In longer-term investing, I'm going to say this. Yes, in longer-term investing, you've got to have a directional long-term outlook, and that is where trend trading will help you. To me, trend trading is highest probability when it comes to longer-term investing. However, you want to be more of an active trader, you're going to have to get used to not just trend trading. You're going to have to get used to range-bound trading and having a rules-based, objective system that's going to allow you to define when it's a trend trade and when it's a range trade and when to change and switch gears. Because if you don't, you're going to get crushed. So the simple answer is yes, trend trading great in this real long-term, especially in the world of investing. But when it comes to short-term trading, you've got to adapt to when there is a trend and when there isn't a trend. I hope that helps. Absolutely great question that we got coming through there as well. Wow, I tell you what, it's exhausting when it's just you on the show. Let's talk about what we've got coming up at TakeStock Live as well. Guys, thank you for all of your comments as well. Lots of sharing on here as well. I haven't got a huge, opinion on that, Joseph, asking about MSTR. They do buy a lot of Bitcoin. You know what? I just trade the charts as I find them. So for me, the best thing for me ever asked me, Sam, what do you think of a chart rather than an opinion on a company or any other kind of news? Because I'm at this point in my life where I don't really believe anything I read in the paper anymore. I only believe what I see on a price chart. So that's the best way to do it as well. Oh man, I know, right? Doing a daily show. Merlin, stop ribbing me, brother. Your choice to do the daily show, my friend. I tell you what, I'll swap with you. You can do you do this show and be a full-time dad as well. Try that one out of a full-time dad of a 3-year-old. That is my full-time job. That's why I don't do a daily show. So you can come and babysit for me and I'll do your daily show. Happy swap. If you want to do that, you know where I am. Jump on a plane, my good friend. Come over here, babysit for me for 5 days and I'll take over your show for 5 days. Happily, my friend. All right? Have we got a deal there? Good man, guys. If you haven't yet seen it on there, look on the... I'll pass. Wise man, although I would say Jacob Evans, I love you more than life itself. My little boy, he's the best. Guys, Trader Merlin in the comments right now on Facebook Live. Great guy, good friend of mine, has his awesome show that you can look at, the Trader Merlin show on YouTube daily, not weekly like this lazy guy in the front of you, daily. Go check it out. It's a great show. You might even see me on there sometimes as well, but really one of the best shows out there on the internet if you want to look at trading and investing and cut through all the garbage and the BS. Love it. Trader Merlin, big shout out to you. Go check out his YouTube channel and daily show right now and subscribe and like it. And please do the same for mine as well. We all love each other on here as well. What have we got coming up at StockAbility? What have we got coming up at StockAbility? On StockAbility, just go over to just bring up the charts. Got some really brand new webinars coming out that we've not done before. So I want to just, if you're saying, hey, I want to know more, I want to find out more, I'm lapping this up, I want to see what else you got going on. Let's go take a look at what we got going on. Guys, you know where to go. And if this is your first time, head to StockAbility.com. StockAbility is the power behind TakeStock Live. Scroll down to the bottom more. Before you even do that, heck, you can go to our resources section. Check out all of our free material on there. Plenty of cool stuff on there that you can kind of peruse and see what we do. We are an education company and we pride ourselves on the education that we give. Scroll on down to the bottom, my friends, and you will see our Trustpilot reviews, which is looking great here. And go to one of our free complimentary webinars. We've got our next one coming up just over a week from now, just under a week, June 22nd. You can see it right here. Complimentary webinar, a focus on Forex with Alexander Perner, our lead Forex coach at StockAbility. And he's going to be talking all about the tips and tricks he uses for the Forex market. Yes, fiat money, not cryptocurrency, but he might talk a little bit about crypto as well. He's going to be focusing on that. And then the next two webinars here, I'm going to be doing number one on here, brand new subject, the path to becoming a funded trader. You want to trade, but you don't have enough money. Well, get an education first, and then I'm going to show you how you can build up the skills to get somebody else to pay for your trading and to get somebody else to put the money where your mouth is and let them fund your account. There are resources out there, but you got to know how to do it. It ain't easy. We can help you with that as well. We're going to talk all about how to become a funded trader and some of the tips and tricks to use if you're looking at that route. And if you want to know more about crypto and we want to expand more about futures and all that good stuff, how to trade crypto without owning crypto. That is our webinar coming up on July 20th, 7 p.m. There they all are. Please feel free to register them. They're all there for you. Show you what we get up to at StockAbility. We've got some really cool stuff coming out in the next couple of months as well. So go check out, register for one of our complimentary webinars. And in the meantime, if you want to chat to any of us and see what's going on, if you need any help in every area, you know where we are. We're very friendly. We're very approachable. And one thing about us is we always tell it how it is. Man, that's been a fun show. Guys, can I thank you everybody for your questions, your comments, your interaction. Thanks, guys, for watching the show as well. Sorry for all the confusing times. Next week, we will be back on Thursday, okay? The 24th. Thursday, the 24th of June. We will be back next week at 12 noon Eastern. Back on Thursday on Facebook Live and the StockAbility YouTube channel, broadcasting simultaneously. I'm going to be joined by Christy Geiger, performance coach extraordinaire, who's going to be coming on to talk about how to take your trading and investing mindset to another level. I've worked with Christy. She is the personal performance coach of lead coach at StockAbility, Ryan Watkins. I've started working with her. She's awesome. She's going to help you understand peak performance and how you may be getting in the way of your own success and bringing your own failure in the markets. That is something that we're going to be doing as well. So here we go. Next Thursday, June 24th, we'll make sure we do that, Joe. Absolutely, my friend. Going to be joined by Christy Geiger, performance coach. It's going to be a great show. Really looking forward to it. Guys, in the meantime, thank you for all of your comments and all your thoughts and just for being here as well. This has been Take Stock Live. My name is Sam Evans. I'll see you next week. Be well, happy trading, and have a fantastic week. Stay safe out there. Take care.